Righty. Today we are going to be talking about interview questions, ethics, and of course, hiring practices, which is a major part of what we do as principals. We are going to be reviewing a little bit of a scenario and kind of filling in some gaps that we found there. So, based off of the interview that we read about, there's a couple things that the interviewer still needs. So we need to find out if the candidate can perform the job and meet the scheduling requirements. Some people have kids, their school starts at a certain time. Do they, do they have any health issues that maybe they're struggling with? So it's this type of question. We really want to set our employees up for success when it comes to meeting scheduling requirements because it can impact them on their yearly evaluation. Interpersonal fit. Will they work effectively with students, staff, and families? So a lot of times we think about where people are from, their culture. Have they been around the school's socioeconomic status before? Are they a team player? Do they align with the attitude of the staff and maybe the expectations of the families that we are serving? And then, of course, professionalism. Do they demonstrate professionalism and good judgment? Professionalism can be judged based off of your initial interaction, what they're wearing, and good judgment can be based off of scenario-based questions. And then, of course, our mission alignment coming from our mission, vision, and values. Are they a good fit for the school's mission and culture? Just making sure that they're aware of the school's mission and asking some follow-up questions with that. So if job-related qualifications, not necessarily personal characteristics are what we're looking for. And that's the information that the interviewer still needs. So how can interviewers get this information? So this position requires occasional event evenings. Can you meet those expectations? Describe your approach to classroom management. Tell us about a time you received constructive feedback and how do you build relationships with students and families? These are the questions that you can use to gain, the answers to these questions. So additional questions that may provide valuable insight. So what does an effective instruction look like to you? This will give you a really good understanding of how well they understand things like the gradual release model, if that's relevant to the class that they're teaching, if they're familiar with using data to fill in misconceptions in their instruction. Parent interactions, which have become increasingly important as time has gone on because, we have social media and we can communicate with our parents pretty easily digitally. But it's important that they not only know how to deal with a difficult parent, but that they're able to have good interactions with parents on a regular basis as well. How do you support a struggling student? It would be really nice to hear them talk about a scenario where they assisted a special ed student that was successful, or maybe a student with a 504 plan. And then, of course, classroom culture. What strategies do you use to create a positive classroom culture? This can make or break a teacher or an employee, especially because a good classroom culture creates students who want to work for the teacher, even when they don't want to work for themselves. So ethical concerns with tricky questions. So sometimes even legal questions can be unethical, even if we're asking about like the legality of certain things that a school deals with. And this may uncover protected information that you don't even want to dabble in. And sometimes this can introduce biases, which creates an unfair process and gives the person that you're interviewing either an unfair advantage or an unfair disadvantage. And not only that, but it also damages trust because we all know in schools, teachers talk, they talk. And as soon as trust is taken away, it's hard for a leader to gain that back. Trust takes time to build, but it only takes a second to lose. So hiring should be based on qualifications, not personal characteristics or the interviewer's personal biases. So I thought this was very relevant. So according to Combs, Harris, and Edmondson, trust is built through transparency and genuine decision making. When people feel manipulated, trust decreases. So it's important that we're honest about job expectations, use consistent interview questions, and apply the same standards and respects to all applicants of the position that you're interviewing for. Transparency in the hiring process reflects the values of the entire institution. So being honest upfront about the expectations, about what you're looking for is really great. And I always think that it makes the person who's being interviewed feel a lot more at ease. So the best practices for school leaders include to have structured job-related questions, scenario-based questions, consistent bias-free evaluation, and then, of course, while you're interviewing, prioritize student success fit. So following these practices protects both the candidate and the district, ensuring that you are fair and legal when it comes to the hiring process. Alrighty. So the purpose of an interview is not necessarily a trap. It's structured to determine if a candidate can perform a job and if they will contribute positively to the campus environment. Alrighty, and that's all we've got. Thanks.